Hey, we're still standing, but I think the lesson always is that you get through by the skin of your teeth. The wild is always in charge. And I think over the years, my respect for the...
Just moments ago, shocking news about survival legend Bear Grylls began spreading like wildfire across the internet. The man who taught millions how to face the impossible now stands at the center of a mystery that has left fans stunned. For nearly 2 decades, Grylls has been the face of courage, conquering the deadliest terrains on Earth with nothing but determination and instinct. He has crossed deserts, jungles, mountains, and frozen wastelands, teaching audiences not just how to survive, but how to overcome fear itself. Yet now, after years of testing the limits of the human body and spirit, he's made an announcement so unexpected that even his most loyal followers are in disbelief. It's not about another expedition or world record. This time, it's something personal, something final. Has the man who seemed unbreakable finally reached his breaking point? The answer, as the world is now learning, is far more human and more powerful than anyone expected. Long before the fame and the cameras, Bear Grylls was Edward Michael Grylls, a curious boy from Northern Ireland who lived for adventure. From an early age, he displayed an unshakable fascination with risk. He climbed trees higher than anyone else dared, explored rooftops, and practiced wilderness skills while other children stayed indoors. His older sister nicknamed him Bear, unaware that one day that name would come to symbolize raw courage across the globe. His life was shaped by exploration, by pushing boundaries most people never approach. At 23, he climbed Mount Everest, becoming one of the youngest Britons ever to do so. But it wasn't until 2006 that the world truly met Bear Grylls. That year, Man vs. Wild hit television screens and changed adventure television forever. The show took viewers into the heart of danger, showing Bear leaping from helicopters into icy waters, scaling cliffs with bare hands, and demonstrating survival tactics most wouldn't dare attempt. Whether it was squeezing water from elephant dung or crafting a raft from jungle debris, Bear made the impossible seem attainable. To millions, he became more than a TV host. He was a symbol of resilience, grit, and endurance. Yet behind the calm narration and confident smile, the cost of that image was far greater than anyone knew. Before he was famous, Bear served in the British Special Air Service, a force defined by toughness, secrecy, and sacrifice. It was there, during a skydiving exercise in Zambia, that his life nearly ended. His parachute failed to open properly, and he plummeted thousands of feet to the ground, breaking his spine in 3 places. Doctors told him he might never walk again, but through relentless therapy, pain, and faith, he proved them wrong. 18 months later, he stood atop Mount Everest. To the world, it was an inspiring comeback story. To Bear, it was a reminder that survival isn't just about strength, it's about will. Yet the injuries from that fall never truly healed. Chronic pain became a part of his daily life. When filming Man vs. Wild, he endured the harshest conditions imaginable while carrying those old wounds. Every jump, crawl, and climb reignited the agony in his back. But quitting was never an option. Crew members often saw him push through unbearable pain, taking deep breaths between takes, forcing himself to smile once the camera was rolling. The world saw confidence. Behind the lens, there was suffering. He lived with sleepless nights, nerve pain, and exhaustion. Yet he continued, because millions were watching. As the show grew more popular, the stakes grew higher. The audience demanded more danger, more extremes, and more near-death experiences. The line between performance and survival began to blur. Bear was known as the man who could survive anything, But off camera, the pressure of living up to that legend became its own wilderness. Every new stunt risked not just his body, but his sanity. He once admitted, "People think I'm fearless, but I'm not. I've just learned to keep walking through fear." That honesty revealed a truth few recognized. Behind the heroic image was a man constantly wrestling with his limits. The wild had always been his escape, but now it began to feel like a trap. He carried the weight of expectation from fans, networks, and sponsors, all wanting the next incredible moment. The danger wasn't just physical anymore, it was emotional. He began questioning how much longer he could keep risking everything. The wilderness that once gave him freedom was slowly consuming him. Everything changed during a recent expedition in the Himalayas, one that was meant to be another groundbreaking special, but ended as a terrifying near-death experience. At over 18,000 feet above sea level, the oxygen was thin and the temperatures were brutal. While filming a segment on high-altitude survival, Bear suddenly collapsed. At first, the crew thought it was exhaustion, but moments later, it became clear it was far worse. He was struggling to breathe, his heart racing erratically, his vision fading. He was suffering from severe altitude sickness, a condition that, untreated, can cause the lungs or brain to swell. The team rushed to call a rescue helicopter as Bear lay motionless, fighting for every breath. For the first time in his career, the man who had saved so many others had to be saved himself. The silence in that moment was haunting. No one spoke. The cameras stopped. As the helicopter lifted him away from the icy ridges, one crew member recalled, "It felt like we were watching the legend of Bear Grylls end." He recovered physically, but something inside him had shifted. Back home in Wales, surrounded by his family, Bear seemed quieter, more introspective. The man who once chased danger now sought stillness. He spent more time on his small private island, away from the noise of fame, finding peace in simplicity. Swimming in cold waters, cooking breakfast with his sons, walking the cliffs at sunset. Friends said he had become softer, not weaker, but more grounded. He began speaking about balance, gratitude, and the importance of presence. One day, he told a close friend, "I've spent my whole life surviving, but now I just want to live." His injuries, though long managed, had worsened. His body bore the marks of a life spent defying the elements. But his decision to step back wasn't just about pain, it was about perspective. He realized that proving himself had come at the cost of peace, and the next chapter of his life would not be about endurance, but about purpose. Away from the cameras, Bear rediscovered the side of himself that fame had buried. On his island, he was simply a father and husband. He taught his sons how to build fires, respect nature, and stay humble. His wife, Shara, had stood by him through every injury and risk. She had long encouraged him to slow down, reminding him that true strength wasn't about surviving storms, it was about staying grounded when they pass. Her words finally sank in. Bear began journaling again, writing about fear, faith, and healing. He revisited letters from his SAS days, reflecting on how much of his life had been spent trying to prove his worth through pain. Gradually, he began creating something new. Programs for young people that taught not just survival skills, but emotional resilience and leadership. His goal shifted from surviving the wild to helping others discover their inner strength without the need for suffering. He believed that the wilderness could heal as much as it could test. And for the first time in decades, he no longer felt the need to conquer nature. He was learning to coexist with it. When Bear's public announcement spread online, the reaction was overwhelming. Within hours, hashtags like #ThankYouBear and #ManVsWildForever were trending worldwide. Millions shared messages of gratitude and disbelief. People from over 100 countries wrote about how Bear had inspired them, how his lessons helped them face fear, loss, and uncertainty in their own lives. Soldiers, climbers, and parents alike thanked him for showing that strength wasn't about being invincible, but about never giving up. The response was deeply emotional. Fans described feeling as though they were saying goodbye to an old friend. Even celebrities joined in. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson called him a man of courage and humility, while National Geographic praised him for redefining adventure television. The Scouts, for whom Bear served as chief ambassador, organized a global outdoor event to honor him, encouraging young members to spend a night in nature and reflect on his teachings. What made the moment so powerful wasn't just the announcement itself, it was what it represented. In a world obsessed with pushing limits, Bear's decision to stop became a reminder that knowing when to rest is its own form of strength. As tributes poured in, fans revisited his greatest moments, dangling from cliffs, starting fires in rainstorms, and laughing in the face of danger. But now, those clips carried new meaning. People weren't just watching a hero. They were realizing that behind every stunt was a man who risked everything to teach them how to keep going. The wild had always been his classroom, and now, even as he steps away, his lessons continue to echo across generations. Though many wondered what comes next, those close to Bear say this is not an ending, but an evolution. He is already planning new projects that blend adventure, education, and environmental awareness. One initiative, tentatively titled Beyond Survival, focuses on helping young people develop mental toughness and leadership through nature-based programs. It's not about escaping the wild, but learning from it. He's also reportedly working on a memoir, his most personal one yet, where he'll share untold stories from his decades of expeditions, the fears he hid, and the moments that nearly broke him.